Hello everyone, my name is Sergeant Francois. Today I'll be conducting a practice on noise, light, and litter discipline. The FM for this brief is FM 7-8. The task number for this brief is 071-COM-0815. The conditions are: you're a member of an element conducting a tactical mission. The standards are: ensure that noise was kept at a minimum, no light was visible to the enemy, the area was free of litter and other evidence of the unit's presence. The risk assessments are currently low. The hazards to look out for are rain, traffic, debris, and wildlife. To mitigate all risks prior to my brief, I ensured that the area was swept prior to my brief. I'm going to start off with the performance steps for noise discipline. To comply with noise discipline, be sure to avoid all unnecessary vehicular and foot movement. Secure metal parts to prevent them from making noise during movement, such as you can tape them down or use other materials. For example, weapon slings and canteen cups, also ID tags. Do not restrict moving parts of weapons doing so prevents their operation. So if you have anything on your weapon that you need to actually use, do not restrict your weapon at all whatsoever. Talk only to conduct or explain operations. Use radios only when necessary, keeping the volume low so that you're the only one who can hear it. Noise, light, and litter discipline is paramount for tactical movement and tactical operations. These few disciplines show you how to erase your signature in all wilderness environments as well as an urban environment. Just reducing that signature that you've been there or made movement there. Let's go back over discipline, and let's first consider your own noises and things we have, such as watches, alarms, and cell phones as well. It wouldn't be smart to have your own cell phone on your person due to the fact of the enemy being able to track you that way. So if you're deployed and you're going out into the line, there's no need for you to have your cell phone. You don't want the risk of your phone going off, your light being flashed, or even the enemy being able to track you, because just as smart as we are, the enemy is as smart as we are as well, because they're trained soldiers as well as we. Another thing is, when you're moving through the woods, you hear a lot of snapping of twigs and leaves and things of that sort that you can't control, but there's a few tricks you could to implement and try to limit the noise. For example, you can get some large wool socks to put over your boots that could help mask that noise. Also, your water source, you always need to carry water, but the hydration bladder, such as the Camelback, also makes a slushing noise because they always have air in them. So ideally, you want your water to be full, but if you have a Camelback, the little swoosh when you're walking is it's not loud, but it's noticeable. So a trick I was introduced to was to allow everyone in your squad to share a canteen when it's time for a break, so that you can empty one full canteen instead of everyone sipping on their own canteen. You'll be able to empty one canteen and put that canteen away, and now you still have those other canteens that you can use at a later time that are full, and you don't have to worry about the noises that it can make if it has some if it's not completely full at the time while you're on your movement. One other noise adjustment that can be made prior to the movement is securing all straps on your equipment. Sometimes if your straps are dangling, they could snag onto a branch or something in that nature. So for example, on the flick, you'll see tape. People will tape their straps, they'll roll them up and just tape them to secure them so that they're not flapping, even on your rucksacks or any luggage that you're going to carry while you're out there, on your camelbacks, everything. If you have straps or any strings or anything like that you're not able to cut off, just wrap it up and tape it. Make sure that you're using some kind of camouflage like green tape or black tape so that everything will blend in. Another good thing to do before movement would be to jump up and down with all your gear on, so that anything you can hear moving or rattling, you can go ahead and fix that before you step off. So for example, I don't hear anything rattling, moving, shaking, swishing, anything in that matter. So at this time, I'm okay to take off for movement if I was to be on a movement. The last thing for noise that we're go over is talking. It's very important for you to not talk while you're conducting a movement, because what's more important, something little that you have to say that you could possibly use hand movements or something, or your life. Like, you want to talk or do you want to live? So I'd rather live. I don't know about you, but if it was up to me or my battle buddy, I know they would rather me use some hand movements, hand and arm movement signals or something in that matter, instead of trying to come out of my mouth and say some words. So during movement, don't talk, don't say a word, just do what you're there to do, so that the enemy cannot hear you or find you, track you at all, period. It's best for everyone. The next performance that we're going to conduct and go over is how to comply with light discipline. So first, I would like to say, do not smoke except when concealed from enemy view. Smoking at night is a no-go and should be restricted, as the enemy can see and smell the smoke. So not only could they see the light from the smoke, the lighter that you have to light, the tip of the cigarette, they'll be able to see that while you're smoking it, whether you're down smoking it, up smoking it, or trying to cover yourself up. They'll be able to see the light from that smoke. Not only the light, but the smell from the smoke, they'll be able to capture that as well, depending on how far they are. But it doesn't matter, because you're not going to know where they are, because they don't even know where you are. So just be safe with smoking as well. Conceal flashlights and other light sources so the light is filtered. For example, under a poncho or a fleece. Cover all things that reflect light. Example, metal surfaces, vehicles, and glasses. Use all available natural concealment. Camouflage all vehicles and equipment. With light discipline, obviously using flashlights, you want to have filters on them. For example, the red lens. I was told that the only white light allowed at night during blackout was the moon. I don't know if you've heard that before, but it was pretty interesting to me. So if you was to go out one night and it was completely dark, the only light that you would use is the moon, the light from the moon, or your red lens. But while out there, if you need white light, just ensure to be covered with a poncho or a fleece or something of that matter to conceal the light, so you're not being seen by the enemy from a distance. You want to make sure you're not using any lights on your. You want to make sure you're not using any lights from your watch as well. Also to avoid the enemy from seeing the possible glass glare from your watch, you can turn it to be on the inside of your arm. For example, I have a watch here. If I was to put it on, you will be able to see a glare, right? But if I was to turn it this way and I was to walk, you won't be able to see the glare anymore. It'll be facing inward towards my body instead of outward towards the enemy. Try to avoid wearing any jewelry as well. We understand wearing a watch, which my example of the gold watch isn't a good example. It was just for the glare and so that you can see. But we prefer you to wear a black watch, so it can be in uniform and it'll be easier. It won't be easy for the enemy to be able to see you at all, especially if it's camouflaged into your uniform. For knives you may carry, I advise you to get an all black knife, pocket knife, or regular knife that you want to carry on your person. If you cannot get an all black knife, it's understandable. You can get a knife that has the silver blade. If you do have the silver blade, we advise you that you just spray paint it black so that once again the glare from the knife is not reflected to the enemy. You want to not be seen. Instead of being seen, you want to see them and them not see you. Okay. Let's go back to smoking. So smoking should be avoided because not only could the enemy in the night see the light from a lit cigarette, but also it lets out a smell. I say smoking is bad for you always, so I wouldn't do it, but if necessary, be sure it's not during blackout. So blackout is once it's dark outside, it's dark outside. There are no lights that you need to be flashing. There are no cigarettes that you need to be lighting. None of that. You just try to stay not seen as possible. The third performance step that we're going to go over is how to comply with litter discipline. Take all litter, i.e. empty food containers, empty ammunition cans or boxes, old camouflage, to establish collection points. Carry all litter with you until you can dispose of it without leaving any trace. Next, you're going to conduct a practice on noise, light, and litter. discipline, where you'll be given a go or no go on the performance measures as follows. The performance measures for noise discipline are: avoided all unnecessary vehicular and foot movement, secure metal parts preventing them from making noise during movement, did not restrict moving parts of secure weapons, preventing operations, talked only to conduct or explain operations, use radios only when necessary, kept volume low so only you can hear it. The second performance measures that we'll go over are complied with light discipline. So light discipline: smoked only when concealed from enemy view, concealed flashlights and other light sources so the light was filtered, covered anything that reflected light, used all available natural concealment, camouflage all vehicles and equipment. The third performance measure that needs to be complied is the litter discipline. So that means you took all litter to establish collection points, carry all litter until it could be disposed of without leaving a trace. At this time, you'll be allotted 15 minutes to go from point A to point B, conducting noise, light, and litter discipline. Your 15 minutes have begun. Your 15 minutes is up. Now we're going to review the practice of noise, light, and litter discipline. You've been evaluated on the performance measures and graded with a go or no go. If you do not pass, you'll be retrained, and you'll be retrained on 5 November 2020 at 14:30 hours at the National Infantry Museum. At this time, we will conduct an AAR. Okay, so what was supposed to occur? We were supposed to go over the practice of noise, light, and litter discipline. What did occur? Okay. What went right? Okay, thank you. Are there any improvements? Okay, great. The risk assessment at this time is still low because the control measures were effective. Great training, everyone. At this time, we will now conduct a police call. It is the duty and responsibility of all soldiers and DoD civilians to protect and preserve their environment. This training product has been reviewed by the training developers in coordination with the G2 Fort Benning, Georgia 31905 Foreign Disclosure Officer. This training product can be used to instruct international military students from all approved countries without restrictions. Sergeant Nichols, your soldiers are being evaluated and will be determined as being trained, practiced, and untrained. This concludes my video.